Hello, good evening. God bless you. This is Festus Flourish Osemoahu, the founder of Marriage Care International Ministries. And of course, I'm the host, the regular host on this unusual series called The Wisdom of Delilah. I call it unusual series because somebody asked and said, Delilah of all persons. Why Delilah? So it's really an unusual series. But friends, I've come to realize that there are some characters in the Bible that had questionable characters that some of us readily will not want to associate with. That there are things about them, even though they used it negatively, that we can learn from them. A very good example, was Delilah in the Bible. Everybody saw her as a woman that brought down Samson. I just got thinking, what did this woman do differently to have been able to bring down this mighty man of valor? A man who slew 10,000 men, who had armies to ransom just one woman. And I said, look, there must be something about this woman that she did that if we learn these things and integrate these things to our lives in the positive dimension, it could work out for us positively. Okay, so we don't have to use it to kill a certain Samson, especially when we're discussing this within the context of marriage. Your husband, in this case, is your Samson. So as a wife, you don't have to use the knowledge you or the lessons you learn from this to bring down your Samson, but somehow to be able to help him and get a way around it, because most of the issues and the problems bedeviling marriages are really, really down to lack of wisdom on the path of the women, the wives. All right. And so if we do not understand the complexity of the nature of the man and how he thinks, how he relates, we just keep fighting. And hey, every time we keep saying it's the devil, it's the devil. So please, there are things to really learn about this. Well, let's see how we can integrate these lessons positively. Couple of weekends now, Sundays now, we have been looking at the wisdom of this woman called Delilah. The first wisdom we learned was her ability to entice Samson. That was the first episode. Then the second episode, we learned about her body advantage, her build, her physique, using it to advantage to woo her husband and all that. And then, of course, the last episode, which was the third episode, we learned about how to use polite words to bring your husband under control, literally. Polite words, gentle words. No, she used the word "I pray thee." I pray this like a gentle request, not evil for evil, that kind of stuff. And so these are some of the lessons that we have learned so far. And today we are looking at the fourth episode. Backstage, I've been having a couple of persons chatting up with me, appreciating God for the lessons they are learning from there. So, oh, really? Wow. Who would have thought that there would really be good things to learn from this woman? Okay, so please, that's the attitude. Let's be ready to learn, and I'm sure it will help us. All right, now, okay, so let's get back to that scripture, Judges chapter 6:16, where the episode of Delilah and Samson came about. I've been reading a couple of verses, but I will just read the one that has to do with the fourth lesson we're going to pick out today. Okay, now there was something that happened. Maybe not trying to read the whole episode, the whole scripture, but let me just pick out something in verse 10 as a response to what happened, and then I will explain. And Delilah said unto Samson, behold, thou hast mocked me and told me lies. Now tell me, I pray thee, wherewith thou mightest be bound. Wow. Okay, now let me tell you what just happened before now. Samson had lied to Delilah that if you use, some kind of, he said 7 green withes to bind him up, okay, his strength will leave him. And the woman did it. There were men that were lying in the wait, soldiers, and she cried out, Samson, the Philistines are on you. And without any resistance, he broke free. And the strength was even doubled. And the woman looked at Samson and said, look at the word she used, verse 10. He said, and Delilah said unto Samson, thou hast mocked me To have mocked her is to have caused an offense against her. You know, there are people that don't take lies, telling of lies, you know, with like a pinch of salt. They don't take it lightly. They take it seriously. You told her a lie. That was a huge offense. And so she acknowledged it, that something offended her. Oh, thou hast mocked me. Now, usually in this kind of situation, what you expect the woman to do is to fight back. You mocked me. So let me gather my strength to tell you something. Oh, you lied to me. Oh, you this. But look at what she did. Even after she acknowledged that she has been mocked by something, she said, now tell me, I pray thee. Wow. The fourth lesson we're going to be learning today is attitude to offense. The wife's attitude to offense. The husband's offense, if you want to put it that way. All right. This is where a lot of women miss it. Take note of this. Let me say this, and this is very profound. Every man, every husband to a wife is always, how will I put it now, high-headed when it comes to the possibility of having a wife as an antagonist, having a wife that is contentious. When husband sees or discover or feels that their place is being threatened, maybe their wife is trying to antagonize them, their wife is trying to fight them, their wife is trying to contend with them, they grow extra thick back. Please mark my words, every man behaves this way. You can ask your husband politely anyway, how do you usually feel when there is this tendency of trying to fight you back? When your husband is really in a very good mood, ask him, and he will tell you what he really feels. It's a nature of a man. The testosterone in him that makes him masculine, it's that hormone, or it's an attitude that makes the man, dominant, that makes the man want to fight, that makes the man not easily pushed over. Every man wants to gain his ground. Every man wants to rule. Every man wants to be on the top. Every man wants to be successful. Every man wants to be on top of his game. And the least thing any husband would look for is to have the wife contain that place with him. And so this is where a lot of wives miss it. When you think the only way you can fight back, the only way you can be heard is to be contentious, is to raise your voice back to him. So when your husband speaks one word, you will speak 10. When your husband tells you sit down, you will tell him sit down much more. When your husband tells you don't go, you will also tell him don't go. In fact, sometimes like fight to finish. You only worsen the situation. This wasn't the kind of wisdom we saw in the case of Delilah. How could Delilah have said, oh, Samson, you mocked me, you lied to me? That was an offense. Ideally, this woman should have picked up stones. This woman should have reacted. This woman should have fought back. This woman should have possibly even slapped Samson. This woman should have possibly even denied Samson sex. This woman should have possibly denied Samson food. I mean, these are some of the things we do as wives. Not because your husband has offended you. The next thing is, there's going to be an embargo on sex for the next 3 months. He will have to beg. There's going to be, if you want to eat, get into the kitchen yourself. That kind of fight back attitude. Was that what Delilah did? No. She could have done that, but she realized that she wasn't any match against Samson. If men couldn't achieve that, what chance did she have to be able to fight physically against Samson? But rather, she deployed her internal strength, something men don't have. Of course, she realized that Samson, being in that position to fight and keep fighting, that wasn't going to be the best way to handle him. And so she dug deeper to herself, to her strength. I said, you've got to change your attitude. You've got to control your attitude. Yes, he has offended me, but I don't need to fight back. Men hate it when women rise up to fight them. They feel let down. Every man feels he's a weakling when the woman that is fighting him succeeds over him. So it becomes a natural booster for him to want to fight the woman back. So what chance does the woman have? Her inner strength to be able to douse that tension. The man is looking for fight. is looking for you, just douse the tension. And once you douse the tension and there is no platform for him to fight, he has lost his advantage. The woman can fight physically, but there is something about, don't forget, I've always said it, the woman is the upgraded version of the man. Her mental strength is superior to the man. The man can think one way and go one way. The woman is multidimensional. The woman can use her brain, her mental ability in a multidimensional way. And so your advantage will not be to react at the heat of that time. Your advantage will be to sit back, study the situation. Yes, you have been offended, I know. Your husband has said a very sarcastic word to you, I know. Your husband has treated you in a very demeaning manner, I know. But your chance to getting an upper hand is not you reacting back, because you won't do anything meaningful. So what do? You sit back, you extract the situation, you look at it. I'm not going to win this battle trying to fight back. Okay, do I have an advantage? Yes. And what advantage is that? That I will douse the tension, I will not give him the opportunity of fighting, but I'm going to dig deep into my inner strength and that perseverance, that enduring ability, that ability to hold on in pain. Yes, Delilah was hurt. You as a woman, you can be hurt, but you hold on, but you have a target. And that target is to get your husband off the hook of that Jezebel lady outside. He's being irresponsible. He's not be giving you resources to take care of yourself and your children. You don't fight him to get it all from him. You have a target. I want to get my husband to pay my children's school fees. I want to get him to be responsible. I want to get him to come back early. I want to get him to do this as a husband, as a father. Yes, you can, not by fighting back, but by, an attitude of all is well, an attitude of I'm not here to contend with you, an attitude of I still thank you because you're a good husband and you are doing well and I appreciate you. And then the man gets confused. He was expecting a fight back. He was expecting a Royal Rumble show. And all he's getting is a woman is trying to massage his ego. Oh, men love that. Men love their ego to be massaged. And a woman, take note, when you do that, you can be on top of that man. Yeah, you can have the advantage over him. This is like a contest. You have the mental strength. He has the physical strength. Then set the stage. Don't fight in an area where you are disadvantaged. Oh, take note of that. Don't fight in an area where you are disadvantaged. A major disadvantage for the woman is the area of strength. She's not advantageous when it comes to contesting with the man. And in most cases, that's the way men sees it. That's the way our husband sees it. So you are going to be disadvantaged. But your area of strength is your mental strength. His area of strength is his physical strength. So you bring your own on board. Look at the way the woman does the tension. She was mocked. He had lied to her. And yet, the next word she still used was, I pray thee. She went back to that polite use of words. Oh, my husband, I'm not fighting you. And my husband, I'm not suspecting you. My husband, it's not as if I distrust you. You see, it's just for the good of our children. Do you know how much I love you? Do you know where we are coming from? Do you know when there was no money, I stuck with you? You remember when my family members didn't want me to marry you? I saw your future. And I knew you had a bright future. And I married that future. So sometimes when you see me react this way, it's just because I feel I wanted much more. But it's not as if I'm condemning. You see, you are using this word. As you're doing this, the brain of the man is ringing. It's going up and down. He felt you will come with okay, he's going to deny me sex. He's going to deny me food. And then you are rather massaging his ego. And then he sits down quietly. He might not even say any word. He goes to bed. He wakes up in the morning. There is nothing. It's not as if you denied him food. Oh, men are wired to avoid places where there is no confrontation. In other words, there's no confrontation coming here. This is not a threat. So why do I need to pick up unnecessary fighting? So this is one of the reasons why a lot of couples fight. And a lot of our wives don't know that you can't fight back with your husband. You will just further destroy the situation. But if I told you are going to fight on that issue, e.g., he's not coming back home early. He has gone into the hands of women and all that. And he has come in at the time he came in. Ideally, you should fight him. But deploy your mental strength. Welcome my husband. Oh, that word will feel for melting down. Yeah, because he wasn't expecting to do that. Welcome, my husband. Some of you even, you say, I found condom in his bag. You found condom? That means there is the evidence that possibly he's cheating on you. Okay, no problem. Take the condom. Go to him and say, my husband, I found this in your wallet. I found this in your suit. And I thought you might need it. Oh, I brought it for you. That sounds very funny. That sounds very weird of the woman to do. But you know, that can turn around to be her strength. Because the man will expect, oh, you will find, oh, so you are sleeping with women. Hey, this. You're practically mocking him back. I found this condom. I was just thinking, okay, so maybe we are going back out so that I won't forget. I remove it from, I needed to take the clothes for laundry. So I just thought you would have broken that man much more. You'll be confused. You would have mocked him. You would have mocked his foolishness. But when you pick that condom, you say, hey, everybody come and see, oh, my husband. That lion nature in him will roar, will come up. And then we just keep fighting. And the next thing is we'll say, it's the devil. No, it's not the devil. It's just lack of wisdom. So please, our wives, our attitude to our husbands' offenses when they do offend us matters a lot. Sometimes that offense, the best way to tackle it is not to physically attack it. You might need to give it some time. You might need to think through it. You might need to look at the strength to deploy and how to go about it. And silence can even become a strong weapon for you. He expected you to speak, but he didn't say anything. And then in his mind, is like, oh, I don't know what this woman can do so that I will not sleep in the night and he will come and pour something on me. It's the strength of the woman. Yes, you are not planning that, but you are unpredictable. Let me say this, I will round up. One of the greatest strengths in warfare is unpredictability. Did you just hear me? One of the greatest strengths in warfare is unpredictability. When your enemy, whosoever you are fighting with, cannot predict you. So this is a piece of advice to our wives. When your husband expects you to fight back and you truly fight back, you have lost the battle. When your husband expects you to shout and you truly shout, you have lost it. After all, saying he's not shouting, he will shout. So when it comes to that point where your husband will know that he's shouting, he will shout, what will she do? You have lost it. But let it be that he's expecting you to shout and you're quiet. He's expecting you to be quiet and then you are talking. He's expecting you to come through this way and you're coming through this way. You become a master of the game. You become unpredictable. And then your husband will come to a point where he will realize that my wife is intelligent. And so I wouldn't waste myself. I need to be able to allow things to roll. Give her space. And so because I don't know what she could possibly do next time, I need to respect myself. And so, friend, when that becomes a major thought on the mind of your husband, not knowing how you will react, how you will behave, it becomes something that can checkmate him. But when your husband knows what you will do every time per time, he knows the way you will react, the way you will handle it, you have lost the battle. So in summary, look at the strength of Delilah. Delilah didn't fight back even when she felt that she was mocked and she was offended. The husband told a lie, to her and all that. Yeah, Samson. When I say the husband now, the man friend and all that. But hey, she didn't react. And then she just expressed her feelings. But hey, she went back into that consistent use of polite words. She had a target. And of course, she eventually got it. Remember, it took her 3 times. This thing happened 3 times. And she didn't give up. First step, second, you were to be something, you start trying, hey, my husband is this. You can't win it back to life. That's not your strength. Egos don't fight on the ground because they become losers trying to fight on the ground. It's not their natural terrain. If egos want to fight other animals, they're going to take them up into the sky. That's their natural terrain. What about the lion? The lion will fight on the land. It can't fight in the river, in the water. It's not its natural habitat. We all have our natural habitat. The man's natural habitat is that domineering nature, that lion nature, roaring, ready to go and to fight. God actually put that in him to be able to defend his family and use it for protection. Remember when he said he put him in the garden to protect and to keep it. So it is in the instinct of the man to be able to protect his wife and his children. So it's a natural instinct and it's a natural habitat for the man to react and to want to fight back. That's his natural habitat. And you can't pick him up to a challenge that you expect to defeat him. But what about you? Your natural habitat is your brain. because you were the upgraded version on the man. Have you thought about it? That you as a woman, you were actually the last piece of puzzle to be created. Have you thought about it? After you were created, God rested. Until the woman wasn't created, there wasn't a case move in heaven to rest. And so God must have really, really done so much work in upgrading this woman to be able to help this man. So your strength is your mental ability. You can go and read it up, check it up. The strength of the woman is her brain. And that is why, a 20-year-old girl will be smarter than a 30-year-old man, her brain. Remember how you were when you were a teenager? When you were a young girl, even get into relationship, you remember how smart you were then? So what has happened to your smartness? That was your natural habitat. So now children have come in and your husband has so much bullied you and gaslighted you that you don't even know your strength again. Return back to your strength. Don't fight him. Use your brain. Use your brain. Use your mental strength. Put things straight. Don't react to everything. Put things straight and fight in your natural habitat. Not the negative fighting, but just deploy your strength. And then you realize that your husband will come to a meeting point with you. Once he realizes that you are not a contentious wife and you are not contending with him, there's going to be a level playing field. But once your husband suspects that you are a contender and you are contentious, it's going to be very, very messy. And you are really, really going to be up for that war. But let him know that, look, you are not here to fight him. You're not here to fight over his properties. You're not here to fight over his family members. You're just here to be a good wife. But being a good wife is using your brain. Wow, wow. God bless you. I hope you've learned something positive. I really hope our wives will listen to this. I mean, all those ones that are shouting, hey, that Jezebel girl, cool down, it won't work. There's a way you can handle your husband. That Jezebel girl said he will be the one that will use his hand to go and cut off that relationship. Yeah, because you have the brain. You have the brain. Wake up, women. Wake up. I don't know who has bewitched you. What has happened to you? Have you not noticed? Girl, child at kindergarten, lower levels of education, they always come top in school. My biggest contender those days in primary school was a girl. And I never defeated her until I got to primary 4. I was always taking second position. So when I took and I was staying in primary 4 that she left the school. All right. So and we have it across board. Go to prize giving ceremony, you see, your first position, lady. So what happened? What happened to you? Maybe it's a question, a food for thought. Consider this ahead of next episode. What happened to your brain? This is your brain. What happened? Eh? What happened to you? God bless you. Wow, let's hold it here today. Just think about this. Hey, friends, this is a revolution. Delilah, Wisdom of Delilah series, and other series will be coming up anyway. I mean, we can do Wisdom of Nebuchadnezzar, for instance. Wisdom of Judas Iscariot. I mean, I want to pick out bad characters from the Bible. Characters we don't often see their strength. I want to pick up what they did with their strength. Though in a negative dimension, I want to see what we can learn from them. Hey, friends, share this telecast across YouTube or whatever device that you're receiving this. Share this. I'm sure this will help a lot of wives out there. And if they learn from this, we're going to be having less fighting going on in our homes and our marriages. And of course, insight will really work to their advantage. Please join me again next Sunday, same time, same TV station, MCare TV, powered by Marriage Care International, 6 p.m. GMT. So if you want to be in the live audience studio, 6 p.m. GMT, you can join us and then we'll have a sweat time. But you can also get this via our YouTube channel, Marriage Care International Ministries. Just search for it on YouTube, click click on the notification bell and subscribe to it. So whenever we go live, you'll be the first to know. God bless you. Until I come your way again next Sunday, same time, don't forget, like I usually say, if marriage is an institution, then couples and singles must be students. God bless you. Shalom. Do have a great week ahead.